Hey guys, LevelCap here. The fall patch is upon us, giving us both the new Operation Outbreak map, also known as Community Map Project, that's been in the works for quite a while. It's very cool. Check it out. Free to everyone, so that's pretty freaking awesome. But there is also a ton of changes in this patch. Not just small changes, but pretty significant changes that I think most people are going to be pretty happy about. The changes are so extensive that they affect just about every vehicle in the game with tweaks and weapon changes, but they also affect things like basic scoring in the Conquest game mode. They've also redesigned the minimap so that it has a lot of cool features that you might have noticed in Battlefield Hardline, and there's been nerfs to shotguns and C4 and tons of other things, so let's get to it. Let's begin with some of the notable vehicle changes. If you want every single change that's been in the game, I'm going to put a link to the patch notes in the video description. It is very long, so set aside some time to read through it. I'll be talking about the ones that I think are most impactful. Below radar has been added back to the game, but this time it only affects vehicle lock-on weapons rather than infantry lock-on weapons. So if you're in a helicopter, you can fly 25 meters or lower, and other vehicles cannot lock onto you with their rockets. This is going to make helicopter battles more interesting and not just giving the win to whoever's flying higher than the other guy. Also, jets can take advantage of below radar if they're flying 50 meters or lower. Attack boats can now resist damage in the same way that tanks could, so if you don't get a straight shot on them, you'll be doing slightly less damage, but if you get a perfectly perpendicular shot on their side or something like that, you're going to be doing quite a bit of extra damage, I think around 45% more. Tank's active protection has been upgraded to be more effective while you're on the move, so it should block most of the shots when you're moving around trying to dodge stuff. The cooldown has been increased significantly though, so it's become more consistent, but you can't use it as frequently. They're also less likely to flip helicopters now. In fact, all air vehicles take less sort of shock damage, if you will, when they get hit by a projectile. So when they get disabled or stuff like that, it doesn't affect your trajectory as much, and helicopters are less likely to flip. So if you actually connect with a transport helicopter and it doesn't kill it, chances are it won't necessarily crash right after that one shot. The mobile AA tank does less damage against infantry, which is great since we had recently nicknamed it the mobile anti-infantry tank, as that seemed to be what it was most effective at actually killing. The two battle pickup rocket launchers have seen changes. The HVM2 is now less buff. It got a nerf, basically not allowing it to one-shot aircraft anymore. It also flies a bit faster, so if somebody enacts their countermeasures, chances are it's going to be a bit more difficult to bring that rocket back around to get a connecting shot. It's still probably going to be pretty good, just less likely to one-shot aircraft. The M136CS, which was a rocket launcher I never used because it was so bad, is the powerful dumbfire battle pickup rocket launcher. It now got a big buff to splash damage, so it's going to be a lot better against infantry. Shotguns universally got a nerf. They are all far less effective at range. Their damage drop-offs have been changed significantly, and that's a good thing because we're just seeing way too much damage out of especially those semi-automatic shotguns. And speaking of which, all the semi-automatic shotguns also got reductions to their actual pellet count. So shotguns, if you were abusing those things a lot lately, you might want to try them out again, because I don't think you're going to have quite the same success as you did before. The Mayor's Lake has seen a little bit of a buff to its ranged effectiveness, but in my opinion it's so minute that it's really not going to change how effective this sidearm is. C4 has seen a bit of a nerf, affecting its throw range and splash damage to make it less effective against infantry and primarily more of an anti-vehicle weapon, I imagine anyway. However, vehicles that now have reactive armor seem like they can mitigate enough of that damage so that it's going to take you on average 3 sticks of C4 to take down any piece of armor, LAV or tank. This is definitely going to take a little getting used to. I'm not a huge fan of this in general because I think it's hard enough to kill an armored target with C4 in the first place. Attack helicopter gunners have gotten their splash damage back, so they're going to be significantly more effective. Pretty much countermeasures across the board have had their recharge times reduced, so maybe air vehicles will be staying up in the air a lot longer. One of the most significant changes was that the fire extinguisher cooldown was 25 seconds previously, has been reduced to 8 seconds now, which is totally insane. Maybe the fire extinguisher will be a lot more popular. SRAs have been buffed a little bit, giving you slightly more control and initial velocity, so they're a little bit more effective as dumbfire weapons. Gonna have to try out those rocket launchers a bit. Stingers and Iglas are universally less effective with slower missiles and increased lock-on time. I've already seen some pilots basically break the Stinger and Iglas by being able to dodge them very easily, so maybe DICE will have to come back and readjust these pretty soon. UCAVs and mortars have both seen a buff, making them significantly more usable, and I am not a fan of this. These are my least two favorite gadgets in the game. I don't like indirect fire weapons, but if you find yourself getting killed a lot more by UCAVs and mortars, you can thank the buff. The Marksman bonus has finally been updated. No longer will you get massive point bonuses for headshotting at really long ranges with a sniper rifle. You will only get 25 points for a Marksman bonus. It will still tell you how far away your target was though. In a massive change to the Conquest game mode, DICE is now offering 400 points for a flag capture, which is the equivalent of the old MCOM capture. So just standing on a flag, getting the cap for it, you can get massive points, and you will see a lot of people on top of the scoreboard with not that many kills as long as you're playing the objective. This will be interesting to see how this plays out and hopefully not exploited too much, because 400 points is, wow, that is a lot of points for just standing on a flag. Even when there's 30 people on the same flag, they're all getting 400 points apiece. More emphasis has actually been put on winning the round, as well as a round win ribbon is now worth 3,000 points instead of just 1,500 points. MCOMs are also worth a few more points. They're 500 points versus the 400 points you got from destroying one. Battlelog also saw an update. You can now search for the high tick rate servers, and you can even point out the servers that are lying about having a high tick rate, which is funny because it shows you the tick rate of the server in your actual search results. Now, there's also been a lot of improvements to the quote-unquote netcode. One of them should be less dusting overall on both infantry and vehicles. If you want to read the explanation of it, you are welcome to. It's pretty confusing now, and there's a lot of weird lingo in it, but have at it by all means. The minimap has also seen some nice upgrades that they have borrowed from Hardline. The flag capture points now show where the capture zone ends, and we also have an indicator of the elevation of our enemies or teammates on the minimap. So the icon will get bigger on the minimap and transparent if they are above us, and smaller and transparent if they are below us, which is pretty darn cool, and it's something that I think we've needed for a while. FLIR and infrared optics can no longer see through smoke grenades. The community seems to have been divided on this point, where the stupid people wanted to be able to see through smoke grenades with FLIR optics and the smart people didn't. The smart people won in this case, so suck it, stupid people. Also, running into a smoke grenade will now, in theory, unspot you, but being behind it will not. Also, in case you missed the Phantom Unlock video yesterday, check that out. The bow is now very easy to unlock, and it has a new poison tip arrow. There are plenty of more patch changes, and if you want to read them all, check the link in the video description. I highly recommend that you do. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.